You know, I have never seen any content on my favorite stand, and I checked. I looked this morning. You really can't find anything on it. They have a website. There's no material outside of that. If I was in the market for a stand today, I wish somebody would have told me about that, and that's what I'm doing. This is called the Gunslinger. If you go into any sporting goods store, you can find climbing stands, but you're not going to find that one. And that one is by far the most comfortable thing that I have found. I've not tried every climbing tree stand that there is out there, but I've tried several of them over the years, and I've had this one for about 15 years. So it may be slightly different than the one that they offer today, but as far as I can tell based off the website, they're still very similar. If you're looking for ultralight, this one's not for you, but if you're talking about the ones that are in the 25-pound range, no comparison on comfort. See that hammock seat? Having a seat like that kind of will absorb your weight sitting down on it while not pinching and binding at your hips. I'm 6'1", 185, 190, and I've got plenty of room, but I know of a 240 pounder that sits in there and he does well in it as well. He'll say the same thing about it. It's ultra quiet climbing. You don't have anything in your way as you're climbing, getting in the way of your knees. And the teeth on this thing and the metal type is just quieter by nature. Then walk right up here, comparison to the Summit stand. It's just got more of a ring. You can tell this thing uses pretty thick piece of metal. You feel like you're actually using something that's heavy duty. It gives you confidence in it. You see, thick, but because it's aluminum, it's not terribly heavy. This, you just kind of tell this metal is a lot thinner, and I think that's the same kind of steel material that's used on a lot of tree stands. Summit's nice, it stands up. But outside of that, not the most lovely thing in the world. You can hear that little bit of noise. I'm sure you could do something about that. The part that I don't like is a lot of times these things here are hitting me in the back of the leg. But it's okay. Now with a Gunslinger, comes with these straps, no padding on there. This is the con, as far as I'm concerned, of this stand. And it packs up, it's high on your back. The weight doesn't feel terrible, but there is a little bind there. It hangs down, but that thing is never hitting me, which I like. So, you know, it's pretty tight. You can walk. Really don't make any noise. But still, yeah, it's heavy. If you've used climbing tree stands, you kind of know how this part goes, but I thought it was worth showing. A lot of the traditional tree stands use a cable like this Summit Viper. They have adjustment points. The Gunslinger also has many adjustment points. It actually seems to fit smaller trees. But it's a fixed bar. And bolts go down through the pre-drilled and tapped holes in the aluminum tubing. You just set the base, figure out how it needs to go, which holes it's in, and you can pretty much bank on it'll be the same holes on the top piece. You get those set in there. The main thing with any climbing stand is just to take your time and make sure you're being quiet. In a hunting situation, you know, you don't want to be beating and banging around and putting the stand on. So that's the key. It's not really so much how. These things are very similar regardless of which type of climber you're using. So now it's on the tree. It's time to climb in and climb. One thing that I'm not a fan of is these floppy seats that come in some of these stands. See, this material has given out. This stand's probably 10 years old. So yeah, sure, I expect some wear and tear, but that stand, no signs of wear and tear, and it's 15 years old and probably been used a lot more and left outdoors a lot more than. Once you're in, I mean, you could pretend you were going to climb from here. You still got this seat in the way. I don't like that. Some people will climb with it behind them, which I guess makes more sense. Then go up the tree. There that thing is hanging on to me as it's coming back down. It's okay, it will work, but when you've used something that works a lot better, you can just tell that this is not the way it ought to be. I'm not going to say I couldn't spend a lot of time in here, but again, these ropes and the way this seat is made, it just causes it to pull to you. So you feel a little bit bound up. There's plenty of room for me. If you're a bigger guy, you could use a little more room. And then there's, you know, put your feet here and that's it. Your gun's got to either hang on a hook or you've got to have it out here in front of yourself. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. I could do this, I could be comfortable all day, but once you've seen something better, you kind of want to stick with it. So I've got these hooks that are accessories that you can get with the stand. I love this. Gun just sits right in there. Climb up the tree with it right by your side. You don't have to have a pull-up rope while you're sitting in the tree. Stays handy with you. Again, if you've used a climber, you kind of know how this part works. Just thought it was worth showing. It's very smooth. Not anything in the way of your legs, not anything catching on the tree. Just nice and easy. Once you're up in the tree, take all the other things out of the equation. Packing it in, hooking up to the tree, all those things are questionable. They're not that much different than any other climbing stand. Once you get up here, I don't know how you can't go for this. Sit back, put your feet up, and just hang out. Jeez. Like I said, you feel like you're kind of in a hammock or laid back, got a nice headrest here. This is the way to go. Put your feet up, you can lay back, put your feet on up here. If you feel like this is a little too laid back, you pop a pin right here real quick, slide it right out, slide it right back in another hole, then it won't lay back as far. Man, if deer are coming, I mean, who doesn't like this setup? Where you can use the tree as cover, you can use it as a rest. If you're a rifle hunter, or if you're a corn pile guy, how can you not like this? Some people will not like that this climber faces the tree. Most of them are going to have your back to the tree, but if your back's to the tree, you can pretty much just set straight up. This thing, you can see the way that it is, a hammock style seat, and you can lay back, you can take a nap in this thing, and I don't know how many times I have, but it is just comfortable. It is literally like sitting in a lawn chair. It's not a stand I want to carry with me in and out back to my truck every day. But if you've got a 30-acre little place that you know you've got to stay within the confines of it, and you don't know exactly, you know, where the tree is at, yeah, this thing by far is the way to go. If I'm gonna stay there all day, this I know is the way that I can do it, and I'll opt for it most every time. The thing does come just shiny aluminum, so you do have to spray paint it. But other than that, it's been good from day one. I would say this one outranks anything that I've ever used, ever seen any of my buddies use. So you just need to know it's an option.